This is even better than we expected, as Canucks prospect Victor Mancini is looking like a huge piece in the J.T. Miller trade, and the Canucks prospects are changing the entire future of this team. We're going to break all this down and more later on in this episode. Before we get into it, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone subscribed. If you're part of the 6,640 of you guys, it's awesome to see this community growing, and we're happy to see you guys enjoying this content. So we just want to give you a little shout out for following along and being huge supporters. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, where we did get an article about Victor Mancini on NHL.com, with Victor going in and talking about his time with the Canucks, how exciting it is, and much more. Looking at the first quote we got from Mancini was, "It really pumps me up. This was on joining the Vancouver Canucks. The mindset I'm using is used to be a sponge, and it takes as much information as I can. Especially in my rookie year, I want to get better in my own game, because I know if I'm getting better, I'm helping my team be better. And to be able to learn from Manny Malhotra, Adam Foote, Rick Tocchet, and these guys, the knowledge that they have is really exciting to me, because I know it's going to help me grow. I'm excited because as time goes on, I'm going to be able to learn more and more." Now, Victor Mancini is a name that a lot of people might not know. If you followed the J.T. Miller trade, he was a piece that a lot of people were wondering, who was this kid coming back in the deal? Now, looking at Mancini, in my opinion, he's looking like a future NHL player, and it should happen sooner rather than later. We've seen Mancini drafted in the 5th round, 159th overall by the New York Rangers. With the New York Rangers, he played 15 games this year, 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 total points. Mancini went into the Hartford Wolfpack, 10 points in 23 games, and he's made 2 games with the Abbotsford Canucks. Now, looking at Mancini, the biggest thing with him is his size. 6'3", 230 pounds. This kid is only 22 years old, and it does continue to get better. With Mancini, he's looking like a guy that can join this Canucks team on the right side as early as this season, especially if we see some guys moved out at trade deadline, which we will touch on now in a moment. But looking at Mancini, he doesn't only just go out and put up hits, 14 hits in 15 games in the National Hockey League. He also blocked shots with 20, playing about 15 minutes in his rookie season with the New York Rangers. 5 points, as I said, in 15 games. He's not going to be the most productive on the offensive sheet, but we've seen from the intro video, Mancini is a monster and a physical specimen. 6'3", of right-handed shot. He could join this Canucks team on the third pairing, and I don't think he would miss a beat or we would notice a rookie on this team in the slightest. Now, looking at Mancini, he continued on to talk about his game. "With my shot, I'm learning in my first year how good guys are in front of the net and tipping pucks. You don't have to blast it from the point and shoot to score every time. I try to get it by the first blocker, and the guys are so good with tipping the puck. There's a good chance the puck deflecting and going in. My focus with a point shot is just getting it there and causing chaos." Now, this is something that would be huge for this Canucks team. We know a lot of Rick Tocchet's system, and a lot of people might not like it, is dump and chase, but having an active blue line, a defensive defenseman that can be active on the point, causing chaos in front of the net, would be a huge piece for this Canucks team. As I said, we've seen him throw hits. We know he wants to cause chaos. Victor Mancini is looking like a third-pairing defenseman as early as this season, and I do think he can easily grow into a top-4 role. If you missed the episode, we did cover him as well. With Darius Dominguez from the Rangers Digest, he had nothing but good to say about Mancini, and it just shows on how much their fans value this kid as well. Now, looking at the Canucks defensive pairings, as I said, with Carson Soucy's name being on the block, if they were going to move on from him, I would love to see Mancini on the right side on this pairing. I know Noah Juulsen has more NHL experience, but the biggest thing with Noah Juulsen, it does seem like his time is coming to an end with the Vancouver Canucks, or at least fans are hoping. I think Noah Juulsen can be a good NHL player, but I don't know if he fits the Canucks system. And I do think with Victor Mancini, he can open up, he can skate the puck up the ice. He's not going to be your best offensive defenseman, but he's going to provide some offense with defensive stability on the back end. I think Mancini is going to join this team on the third pairing right D, especially if an injury does happen, which I hope does not happen to any player on this roster, or if they do move on from Carson Soucy to get Mancini into this lineup. Now, looking at this, it also does help with the future where if we're looking at Mancini, he is on a 2-year deal, $870,000. Looking at this, the Canucks have so much cap space going into trade deadline. I believe it was just under $13 million, with Mancini coming in on this rookie contract for not only this season, but next year as well. This helps the Canucks for the future, and I'm going to continue on with other players that's going to help them in the future. DPD is another guy on the back end on his rookie contract, $838,000 for 3 years, including this year. So 2 more years after this year. But looking at the Canucks blue line, we've seen reports that Soucy is on the trade block, that the Canucks might work on a trade to move on from him. If Mancini joins the team, Forbort leaves at the end of the year. You have DPD to join this team. That saves so much cap space on this roster. Looking at Forbort, $1.5 million. Looking at Soucy, $3.2 million. You're saving just about $4 million in cap space to put towards maybe another defenseman, to put towards maybe another forward. Having rookies ready to make the NHL jump is underrated. And listen, I know a lot of people looked at the J.T. Miller trade and said, hey, we didn't get a lot in return. You got a second-line center, a prospect that's almost NHL ready, and a draft pick, which you flipped for someone on the screen in Marcus Pettersson. This trade opened up so much room for the Canucks with NHL-ready prospects, NHL-ready players, and veterans that's holding down this team right now. This trade is looking better than we thought, and honestly, I'm quite excited. Looking at the defensive pairings, as I said, you have 2 rookie defensemen ready to make the jump. This is not even including Tom Willander, who's set to sign with the team after his NCAA season with Boston University. That's 3 defensemen on rookie contracts that could join the team as soon as this year or early as next year, where we can see all of them make an impact, maybe cycle through. They're going to spend some time with Abbotsford, yes, but these guys are the future blue line of this team. I'm not saying they're future stars of this team, but having cheap contracts helps with loading up the front end. I mean, looking at DPD alone, as I said, he's had NHL experience, playing 6 games for the Canucks, looking like a wrecking ball on the back end. He's played 37 games with Abbotsford this season, putting up 13 points. We've seen him in the AHL All-Star game. This blue line is going to look incredible in the next 2 to 3 years, especially when we see these guys hit their peak. DPD was drafted in the 3rd round, and as I said, that's not even touching on our top prospect in the system right now, in Tom Willander. 18 points in 27 games. We've seen him play the World Juniors with Team Sweden. Tom Willander is looking poised to join this team. This is an exciting future for the Canucks, and I think Patrik Allvin and Jim do get a lot of flack and not enough credit for what they've done with their prospects. I mean, looking at the list, Victor Mancini joins immediately on the right side, looking like he can hop straight into NHL games already. Elias Pettersson, DPD, is already showing he's NHL ready. And listen, do I want him in a 7-game series in the playoffs? Maybe not at this moment, but he can get into regular season games, put an impact, and he can play very well in Abbotsford. In its first full year in North America, playing on North American ice, which is a huge switch up for a lot of players. Tom Willander has not even joined this team yet. This is going to change everything for the Canucks. Looking at the defensive pairings, we can have 1 to 2 of these guys join the roster as early as next year. The biggest thing, the OEL contract jumps up to $4.7 million. With that jumping up, you're going to want to save money. The cap's jumping up, so you don't want to use maybe 2 and a bit of that cap on OEL, since already $2 million is being used on his buyout. So having money saved on the back end could show huge value for this Canucks team. As I said, you can go out, you can get another forward. You can go out, you can pick up another defenseman. This Canucks team, the future looks incredible. They don't look like a true contender at the moment. I mean, the past 8 games going 6-1-1. They do. But if the Canucks do not win a Stanley Cup this year, it's just going to continue opening up the window even more season after season. And it's just a matter of time before we see the Canucks hoist the Stanley Cup, hopefully this year. But I think in the next 2 to 3 years, it's dead certain to happen. But what's your guys' thoughts on all this? What's your thoughts on Victor Mancini? I'll link the article from NHL.com down below on Victor Mancini. What's your thoughts on the prospects joining this team? Tom Willander, DPD. It doesn't even cover the full list. Sorminio looks incredible. incredible. This Canucks team's future looks awesome. Are you guys as excited as I am? Because I'm quite fired up if you cannot tell. But that'd be it for this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go down and leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow, so keep your eye out for that. And make sure to watch Team Canada versus Team USA tonight, because that is going to be a bloodbath. But I've been your host, Mark. Bye, and take care.